How y'all doing? I sort of thought a few days ago about certain celebrities or pop culture icons or people who were famous at one time that we're only remember them nowadays more on how we make fun of them or something that we can poke fun of if we remember them at all. I want to list a couple of examples here. A few days ago I was looking at YouTube and I found this one channel which uploaded all of a television series called The Joy of Painting, and the guy who hosts it is Bob Ross. If you don't know who he is, back then on public broadcasting, PBS and all that, he had this guy who would come up with just a few colors, a little variety of brushes and such, some thinner and a canvas, and it can show you how easy it is to paint these wonderful landscapes and so forth. You don't need years of training in art school. You don't even have any experience at all. Just watch him and you could probably go along as you're doing it. It's kind of like cooking shows except with painting. And he's very fast for all the detail he does. Most of these paintings were done within a 30-minute show. Now, if you remember this guy at all, you're probably more familiar on how we make fun of this guy. His appearance is kind of a mellow hippie, has a red hair, and a fro, and talks very quietly as he paints. Like, yeah, let's just paint this right here, and these happy trees, go tap 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 and all that stuff. And again, that's probably how you're more likely going to remember him. Another example I want to talk about is a Russian comedian by the name of Yakov Smirnoff. Like him or hate him, if you know of him at all, you probably are familiar with how we make fun of him. He was a Russian comedian who came here to the United States in the 80s when it was from the Soviet Union. And his whole act was how great this country is and how funny he finds things are here and how we act as opposed to what it's like in the harsh Soviet Union. And what you probably hear of this guy is in Soviet Union jokes. It's like, in this country you do this and this, in Soviet Union you do this and this, and they tend to have how I should put, I guess a very weak example. I heard this on Mr. Science Theater 3000. They kind of poked fun of him at one time. Says, they had this guy and it says, in your country you wait in line for a movie, in our country we wait in line for bread, sort of thing. But if you actually looked at this guy's stand-up, and again it's dated, and he's not edgy like Carlin or Pryor or Louis C.K. or any of them. He was an interesting character, and he actually told some very funny jokes. It was like one time he applied for a visa, they gave him MasterCard, and instead of American Express, they had Soviet Express. Don't leave home. I'll link a couple of them down below, along with the Bob Ross one's channel as well. And the point I'm trying to make is well, you may find a lot of these celebrities we are more familiar with how we make fun of. But if you take away that sort of element and take a look of what they left a mark of in some way, even doesn't pass on to today. Yakov Smirnoff, again, he's dated. No one's really much hear about him, and his material can only be funny in the context of the 1980s before the Soviet Union fell. Bob Ross can still be relevant today. If you watch this stuff, and again, you can easily make fun of how he talks and all the happy trees. My older brother and I were kind of assholes to our mother, who, when she was painting on her easel, and said, "Yeah, it would be nice to put some happy trees over here, just a little tap tap tap." I was like, "Okay, yeah, we were jerks, we were young to us," but looking back on it, if you look at what he does and shows how easy it is to do it, if you think you can't paint, get a setup like his and start. It won't be perfect, but they're very easy tricks to learn. As a guy who paints miniatures, I understand exactly what he's going by. That you see a finished product, you look at all the details, like that must take so much attention, so much time, so much patience that you can't do it. You need a steady hand, you gotta get even tiny little bit, and it's not really that hard. It takes a little bit of patience, but once you're into it, you are so much into you find that you can do a lot with so little. In the case of Yakov Smirnoff, he would again, it's dated, but it comes from a real love on how better his life is when he came to America and is now he's living his dream, as an American citizen, a guy who accomplishes it. You can't really poke fun at him for that unless you're a real jerk. But what other celebrities do you know of that we are more familiar with how we make fun of them, and not think about what good contributions they did to the world in any manner or fashion? What else do you know? Maybe Mr. Rogers, again from PBS. Sure, we can make fun of how he talks and how, and everything, but he really did contribute to, and really was passionate about the upbringing of children and being curious, and and all the stuff that he did over the years, right before he died. But what else can you think of? If you could tell me, go down below. It could be any celebrity, and I just had this thought. I'll link down Yakov Smirnoff's couple of acts, and I'll link down the channel to Bob Ross's stuff, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, it can be dated, and yes, you can still make fun of it, but if you take away that, and you could see, wow, these two were actually doing something. One was making people laugh, the other one was saying, you could paint with no experience at all, and it's that easy, and you could come with me and join me. What else? What other people do you know of? What others do you think about that we make fun of, but really contributed to society or in some way or fashion? Although, I think we can all agree Pauly Shore cannot be put on this list. I don't think he's contributed to anything. I think we laughed. We thought we laughed with, but then we laughed at, and we continue to laugh, at, or laugh at all. Or ashamed of ourselves. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Thank you very much. You have a nice day.